Hey guys, Static here, and today's video is about the crafting system in Last Epoch. Crafting is a system that players can use to upgrade and change the stats present on a non-unique item. The four components of the crafting system in Last Epoch are the item you want to craft, affix shards, glyphs, and runes. You can access the crafting system by interacting with any of the anvils in town hubs or by pressing the F key at any time. To start crafting, the first thing you'll need is an item that you're looking to modify. Items in Last Epoch have implicit stats which are tied to the item's subtype. For example, a Nagasa scimitar has plus melee damage and increased damage over time, whereas a cultist blade will have plus melee damage and plus melee void damage. This means that, despite both being one-handed swords, the items are useful in different builds. These stats cannot be changed, but they do roll within a certain range and can be re-rolled through crafting. Items also drop with up to 4 affixes attached to them, with 2 prefix and 2 suffix slots available. Attached affixes range in level from 1 to 5 and can be leveled up through the crafting system. The affixes available to drop on or be added to an item are determined by an item type. For example, a sword can have the plus melee damage prefix, whereas an armor piece cannot. The final relevant stat that items drop with is forging potential, which is consumed through the crafting system, with each crafting action reducing the forging potential total, and the item being unable to be crafted any further once it reaches 0. The next component of the crafting system is affix shards. To add an affix to an item with an empty slot, or upgrade an affix already on your item, you require the corresponding affix shard. Affix shards are acquired as random loot or through shattering items with the Rune of Shattering, which will be covered in the Rune section. There are over 400 affixes available, split between prefixes and suffixes, and choosing the correct affixes to put onto your items is a key component of gearing your build for endgame content. Next up is glyphs. While affixes are the main system of crafting, directly improving the stats on your gear, glyphs are more of a support system that can be used alongside a crafting action. There are 5 glyphs available in the game, each with different effects. The Glyph of Hope is perhaps the most basic glyph, simply giving a 25% chance that your crafting action will cost no forging potential. This is the glyph that you use when you aren't utilizing the specific effects of another glyph to increase the number of crafting actions you can take before you run out of forging potential. The Glyph of Chaos makes it so the affix you are upgrading will also randomly change into another affix that can fit in that slot. This glyph is useful when an item drops with some affixes relevant to your build, but one or two that aren't, so you can try and reroll for a more relevant affix. The Glyph of Order prevents the affix you're upgrading from rolling within its range, meaning if you, for example, have a max roll at the current level, you will also have a max roll within the new level range after upgrading. This glyph is good when leveling an affix to max level and it currently has a max or close to max roll. The Glyph of Despair has a chance to seal an affix instead of upgrading it. Sealed affixes are moved into their own slot, freeing up room for another affix. However, the sealed affix cannot be modified further and you can only have one sealed affix per item. This glyph is good to use when you have some max level affixes on the item and are close to maxing out the final affix and still have a decent amount of forging potential left. The Glyph of Insight changes a prefix into an experimental affix with deterministic results based on certain item attributes. This means that with enough experimentation you can know for sure what the result will be. Other creators have already made videos with the results of such experimentation, and I recommend you go watch them if you don't want to experiment yourself. The final component of crafting is runes. If you consider affixes the main component of crafting and glyphs as the supportive component, then runes are the auxiliary component, providing different modifiers to the crafting action. There are currently 8 runes in the game. The Rune of Shattering allows you to destroy an item, recovering a number of shards based on the affixes present on the item. The minimum number of shards gained per affix is 1, and the maximum is the level of the affix. This rune allows players to target farm affix shards by shattering items that drop with those attached affixes. The Rune of Refinement rerolls all affix values within their level range. This rune is good when you have max level affixes that have rolled low within their ranges. The Rune of Removal removes a random affix, recovering a number of shards equal to its level. This rune is good when you want to take a chance at removing an undesirable affix so that you can put an ideal one in its place. While the Glyph of Chaos ensures that the right slot is targeted, but you can't decide what to replace it with, this rune targets a random slot, but you can choose what to replace it with. The Rune of Discovery adds random level 1 affixes to all open slots on the item with an increased chance of rarer affixes. This rune does not cost forging potential but cannot be used on items with 0 forging potential. This rune is great on items that have either no or maybe 1 or 2 affixes currently slotted as a way to take a chance and see if you roll some affixes that you want. The Rune of Shaping rerolls the implicit values on the item within their range. This rune is great if the implicit values on your item are badly rolled and the implicit stats are important to your build. The Rune of Ascendance turns the item into a unique or set item of the same type, but not necessarily the same subtype. For example, using this rune on a one-handed Nagasa scimitar will result in a unique or set one-handed sword, but not necessarily a Nagasa scimitar. The base stats and affixes of the items have no effect on the outcome, and you cannot roll boss-specific drops. This rune is great for target farming a unique that is powerful for your build. If you end up rolling a unique that you don't want and you are aligned with the Merchant's Guild, which I think most people should be, see my previous video for more info, then you can sell it and buy the unique that you want. The Rune of Creation duplicates an item, but sets the forging potential of the original and the copy to 0. This rune excels in two main use cases, dual wielding and making legendary items. If you are dual wielding two items of the same base weapon, you only need one god roll and a Rune of Creation to end up with two god rolls. On the other hand, if you're looking to make a legendary item and don't want to sacrifice the god roll item that you have, you can duplicate it and sacrifice the copy. The Rune of Research seals any experimental affix on the item to its own slot and grants a chance of obtaining a Glyph of Insight. This rune works similar to the Glyph of Despair, except it only seals experimental affixes and it's guaranteed, giving you a way to make very powerful experimental gear with 5 total affixes. Two caveats to this system are Exalted and Legendary items. Exalted items drop with an affix that is higher than level 5, which is represented by purple text. Besides this increased level affix, Exalted items behave the same as other items. You can use these Exalted items and uniques to make powerful legendary items. While unique items cannot be crafted as they have 0 forging potential, they can drop with legendary potential, with lower level, less powerful uniques more likely to drop with more legendary potential. Fusing a unique item with an Exalted item of the same type through the Temporal Sanctum dungeon will result in a legendary item. This legendary item will inherit a number of affixes from the Exalted item equal to its legendary potential. So, a unique with 1 legendary potential will only inherit 1 affix chosen at random, but a unique with 4 legendary potential will inherit all 4 affixes. That sums up the crafting experience in Last Epoch. Let me know in the comments whether I missed anything and what video you would like to see next in this guide series. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and thanks for watching.